but you were a competitor, and you got after it, man. And there were guys that threw 99, like, you were the 87 to 90, 91 guy. But, dude, you made me a better hitter watching you pitch. And I got 10 years less than you did in the big leagues, but it was a pleasure to watch you. I was always rooting for you, and just thanks for being a great teammate. Thanks for being on the show today, man. I so appreciate you being here.
Thank you. It was great to catch up, and you were a great teammate as well. We had a blast together, and that's not the easiest level to have a blast at in AAA.
Right.
Regardless of when you're there, early in your career or towards the end of your career or in the middle, it's a real hard level. So thanks for having me, and let's catch up again soon.
Absolutely. Well, that is Glendon Rusch. For more on Breaking the Norm, you can go to my website, lesnorman.com. Twitter at LNorman22 is the place to go and see all things Breaking the Norm. So if you want anything, email me, les@lesnorman.com.
Going to hit one commercial, fellas, and we'll be right to you guys.
Guests you want to see regardless of that. But on behalf of former Major League pitcher Glendon Rusch, I'm Les Norman. Thanks for joining us on Breaking the Norm.
When the world stayed home, Tanium stepped up to help the world's largest and most complex environments transition to a distributed workforce within days. The sudden shift to a work-from-home environment exposed critical IT gaps that have challenged even the most secure enterprises. In today's IT world, distributed endpoints have simplified the work of bad actors. A cyber criminal need only compromise a single endpoint once. From there, they can hitch a ride back to paralyze your network. Don't be the victim of the next ransomware attack. Talk to Team Tanium. Visibility, control, and response.
You're listening to the most powerful sports station in the country. Sports Radio 810, WHB Kansas City, the power of sports.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, race fans. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB and RBN, the Race Boys Broadcasting Network. I'm Scott Traylor. I'm at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum of Knoxville, Iowa. Kirk Elliott back at Racing Boys HQ, along with Adam and Todd. Blake back at Sports Radio 810, turning the dials for us back there. Welcome, everyone, to the show. We have got a great show for you today, folks. As you know, the ASDS 360 Nationals is taking place up at Knoxville Raceway this week, and we have sound bites from Gio Scelzi, Sam Hafertepe, Blake Hahn, Brady Bacon. We've got guests like Bob Baker from the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. Lee Spencer is going to join us, so we have a jam-packed show today, folks, and it's been a great time up here at Knoxville. And we always enjoy coming up here for the 360 and 410 Nationals. Kirk Elliott, some pretty good racing going on here. Night number 1, Sam Hafertepe picks up the victory. Gio Scelzi, a late pass last night to pick up the victory. Night number 2, the stage is set and the field is set for this year's 360 Nationals. And Shane Golobic and Darren Pittman will be starting on the front row with Sam Hafertepe and Gio Scelzi starting behind them. We'll go over the list of drivers who has made it into tonight's feature. 20 cars have made it in. We've got a few races to go here tonight. Last chance qualifiers. Kirk, it's been really good action up here at Knoxville, hasn't it?
It really has. Carson McCarl's wondering what happened after Gio Scelzi made that move around the outside of him with about a lap and a half to go. That was a pretty good move that Gio made to win that race last night.
Yeah, and Carson fell to 7th.
Yeah, I mean that's. But they ended up. Carson McCarl ended up in that runner-up spot. Skylar Prochaska in 3rd place. But what about Thursday night? Sam Hafertepe Jr., the multi-time Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour champion, is not running the circuit this year, but he's been running 410 cars. But, man, he showed it on Tuesday night at Lakeside Speedway, and then Thursday night he demonstrated that, really, to me, he's the man to beat on this thing tonight.
Well, yeah, I could see why you would think that, Kirk, because he did show some he was pretty dominant in his feature once he got out into the lead. So there's no doubt that Sam has to be one of the favorites. But Shane Golobic, Darren Pittman, these are guys that have a lot of laps around this racetrack. And you've got to look at them. They're starting in front of Sam. Sam's going to have to earn his money if he's going to pick up the big paycheck here this weekend for the 360 Nationals. I wouldn't count out a couple other people as well. I think Gio Scelzi, you're going to have to keep an eye on him. Sam Hafertepe and Gio Scelzi made moves on the racetrack nobody else was doing, using the center of the racetrack. Now, if you really paid attention to Sam on Thursday night, he would roll the bottom down in 3 and 4. But when he got down to turns 1 and 2, he would rip the center of the racetrack. And the way he was able to do that is, if you're familiar with Knoxville Raceway, you know that the cars that are running the bottom throw some stuff out to the middle of the track, some dirt, some wet, some stuff that you can get a grip on. And that's exactly what happened. And Sam took advantage of that and made the pass for the lead through the center of the racetrack down in 1 and 2. Last night, Gio Scelzi, I asked him after Scotty Cook was done interviewing him, that did you notice last night that Sam Hafertepe was running the center of the track? And he said he did notice that, and that's where he made his move last night for the lead. Gio Scelzi using the center of 1 and 2 to make that pass for the lead. So keep an eye on those two. I think that Sam Hafertepe, Gio Scelzi, two guys you're going to have to beat as well.
I agree with that. Those two guys who won each of the 2 preliminary races are the guys that really showed the strength in these preliminary runs. But you had some pretty good action, in behind all of that. If you're watching the race throughout the whole field, there were only 20 lap features, so it happened quick. Right. But there was some pretty good activity going on throughout the field in both features.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, listen, the Duncans, right? They know how to make this track. They're out there working on the racetrack as we speak right now. They've just ripped up the top. They've had the Bobcat out there working on some areas of the racetrack that might have been a little to their a little less satisfied with areas of the track. So they've taken the Bobcat out there to smooth out a couple little areas. They've got the sheep foot out there now. They've just ripped the top with the blade on this end. So they're out there working their butts off right now to get this track ready for tonight's action. We're going to have an E main, a C main, a D main. I should start over. E, a D, a C, a B, and an A tonight. And a lot of good drivers, Kirk, have not made it in. We sit here and we think about Dylan Westbrook, who's a guy that's really been on fire with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. He is 26th in points. He's going to have to come out of the B main. There's a guy right there that you got to keep an eye on. Sammy Swindell in the B main. Austin McCarl in the B main. So there's a Brian Brown, 29th in points. Now, who would have thought that Brian Brown would be 29th in points at this stage of the 360 Nationals, Kirk? That's a little bit of a head scratcher for me. How about you?
Well, it's kind of makes me wonder what the engines are he's putting in that race car. He didn't run a lot of 360 that much. He hardly ever runs any 360s anymore, but I'm kind of wondering about his horsepower in the 21.
Well, listen, Brian Brown is not going to come to a race with inferior horsepower. No way.
So what do you think went on there?
Well, I just think I think you nailed it, Kirk. He doesn't drive 360s much anymore. He's really a 410 guy. And, we were talking to Shane Golobic the other night, and he talked about the difference on how you drive a 410 versus a 360. And, I got to feel that maybe he's just out of sorts, maybe a little bit with the 360. Now.
One of the other drivers that kind of surprised me a little bit is Ryan Levitt, local guy, races at Knoxville all the time. He's got to come out of the C main. He's way back there, and so you're seeing sprinkled throughout the whole field some guys that you would have expected to run a little bit better. But as it always happens every year at Knoxville, you're off by a little bit in qualifying.
It doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much for you to be out of the picture. So that's where time trials are so important, if you qualify well, that sets you up for everything else that comes up. So if you don't time in well, you're going to be really scrambling, and some of these guys are doing just that. And
well, let me tell you, Kirk. Now, with that being said, I talked to Harley Van Dyke and his driver Michael Facento the other day down here at Manny's Restaurant, and we were talking, and they made the comment that they qualified too good, and that hurt them on where they started in their heat race, and that they qualified 9th that night, and they thought they qualified a little too good, and that kind of hindered them a little bit. So it depends on who you ask. If you qualify good, is it good for you or is it bad for you? That's the question.
Yeah, as long as you make the transfer out of the heat races, that's the key. If you make the transfer out of the heat for the preliminary A, then that's pretty critical. But, everybody's got good equipment nowadays. If you run these heat races and you're starting at the back and you're a really good car, you're going to really struggle to get up into that transfer spot, especially if there's no yellow flags, and things can get away from you pretty quick. If you don't make that transfer, that puts you on the outside pretty quick.
Oh, no doubt. Another one of our regional guys that runs with the Race Boys ASCS Warrior region, Gunnar Ramey. He's way back there. He's 66th in points. He's going to have to start in the D main. So we'll have to see what the young Gunnar Ramey can do to make his way up through the field. A tough assignment for that young man right there.
Looking at the Lucas Oil ASCS point leader, Blake Hahn, he'll be starting 14th outside the 7th row for tonight's feature event. I thought in a lot of ways he looked about as well as we've ever seen him at Knoxville here on that preliminary night. He's got a challenge coming from the 14th starting spot, but he's looking about as good as he ever has at Knoxville right now. He's got a shot to get a good finish tonight.
Yeah. Kirk, you want to set up the Sam Hafertepe sound bite that we
Let's
have?
do it. Thursday night's feature winner, Sam Hafertepe Jr., and of course he tuned up on Tuesday night by winning the Road to Knoxville, the big event that Race Boys was part of at Lakeside Speedway on Tuesday night. Picked up the feature win there. Kind of a surprise entry. I didn't really think about Sam showing up on Tuesday, but not only did he show up, he won the feature and then backed it up with the preliminary win on Thursday night. And here is his comments following the feature as Scotty Cook spoke with him.
We kind of fell back in the heat race and kind of got something together the last 3 laps and put us in the redraw, luckily. I said, man, we need to go back to some of the stuff we used to do with this car, and we did that, and we shot out of the 7-hole, and it didn't take us long to get the lead. And then I just drove a smart race after that. I didn't really want to gap it too hard, and we still won a race pretty good, but we got feeling back comfortable. I knew we'd have to go run a race like that to come out here, being that we haven't run a 360 all year long, because the cars do different things. It's not that one's easier to drive than the other. They just do different things. So to be able to control both of them, and you got to have some time in each of them to figure out exactly what the car needs, because both cars are so different. You can't do the same thing with both of them.
Sam Hafertepe Jr., we've seen him win a lot of races, Scott, but his first visit to Knoxville Victory Lane, he had as big a smile on his face pulling in there as we've ever seen out of Sam.
That's really kind of hard to believe, isn't it, Kirk, that Sam has never won up here at Knoxville till this week, and he picks up the victory on Thursday night. I was fortunate to set up in the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum suite with Miles Hill, who is Sam Hafertepe's car owner, and he rode down with me on my golf cart down to Victory Lane, and he was just so happy for Sam. And Sam is kind of the leader of that race team. They've got Alex Hill running, Dylan Westbrook running, but Sam is the guy that kind of is, I don't know, he's kind of the leader, the team leader of those 3 drivers, and so he gives them a lot of great advice, and it showed up that Sam is proving once again, Kirk, that's why he's a 5-time champion with Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. We saw what he did at Lakeside on Tuesday night, pretty dominating. That was a pretty good race, I got to admit, on Tuesday night at Lakeside Speedway, and we want to thank everybody that showed up out there on a Tuesday night. We know that's pretty non-typical for fans to show up on a Tuesday, but we had a nice amount of fans out there and a good car count, and the stock cars and the B mods put on a great race. So I want to thank everybody that was involved with the B mods and the stock cars for coming out and supporting us as well. So it was a good night out at Lakeside Speedway on Tuesday. Didn't you think, Kurt?
Oh, yeah. Good night. It cooled off. That was the best part about it. It wasn't 90-plus degrees hot. Yep. So, I mean, it was a beautiful night weather-wise. And, again, I echo your sentiments. Appreciate everybody showing up. Great night of racing out at Lakeside on Tuesday night. You were just thinking about, you mentioned Dylan Westbrook. Dylan Westbrook beat Sam Haperteef to victory lane at Knoxville as he won there. Westbrook won a feature there, weekly show, back before you guys headed out west here back in June.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how he does tonight. He's got a little bit of work to do to get up there to challenge tonight Dylan Westbrook in the 47.
You know, Kirk, we talk about the quality of drivers with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour, but we also, when you show up at this event here at Knoxville, the very best of the very best are all running with the 360s this weekend. I mean, you just go through the list of names of people that are running these cars. You know, you might not have Donnie Schatz up here running with us in a 360, but man, oh man, this is a tough field. And I want to give a shout out to Garrett Williamson, who made it in by the hair on his chinny chin chin, 16th in points, squeezing in, and making the field last night. So that was good for Garrett Williamson, who's had a lot of bad luck this year. He's tore up a lot of equipment, but we had a nice conversation with him yesterday over there at the Racing Boys trailer, and he is upbeat. He's got great enthusiasm. He's not going to get down because he's had a little bad luck, and he's made it into the A main. So good job by Garrett Williamson.
And how about that, speaking of Garrett Williamson, that photo finish victory he got at Moberly the other night over Ayrton Geniton. That was a heck of there was no video of that, but we saw the accounting of that as Garrett Williamson wins in a photo finish for first Sprint Invaders win at Moberly, Randolph County Speedway here this past week. So
yep, a good 360 win for him right there, and that was good to see him in victory lane. He needed that. Really, Garrett really needed that. He's really just had some rotten luck here as of late. But his team and his car owner and everybody's behind him, and it's good to see that, not giving up on the young man after having a kind of a lull when it comes to some of the luck that he's had out with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. So, yep, it's a good kid, easy to root for, I should say, Garrett Williamson.
Let's hear from Gio Scelzi, who won last night's feature event in dramatic fashion, making that late pass of Carson McCarl for the victory.
My car was really good. Just got stuck there in fourth early, and once I got clear of fourth, got into third, then I kind of ate up the guys up front. So my car was just awesome. I could do whatever I wanted, top, middle, bottom, and when you can kind of go where the guy in front of you isn't and you can pass him, it's pretty cool to have a car that good and that agile.
He definitely had a great car. How about we don't see Dominic here this weekend. We did see him out at the Dirt Cup here a few weeks back, but he's not in Knoxville. So both Scelzi brothers have won big 360 races here in the recent past involving the Lucas Oil ASCS.
Yeah, I mean, keep an eye on Gio. You know, when I met Gio, he was a little kid, about 12, 13 years old. And I remember Dominic telling me, man, my brother's really good. I don't want to really say much about me, but my brother, I think he's a little bit better than I am. And Gio Scelzi proven once again that he is a quality top-tier driver. You see what he can do in a 410 when he runs with the All-Stars, the World of Outlaws. Proven once again last night that he is a candidate that is going to be one of the guys that's going to be battling for that win, I believe, tonight. I would be shocked if Gio Scelzi isn't a player between Shane Gullebuck, Darren Pittman, Sam Haperteef, Gio Scelzi. And let's not forget, starting fifth, Terry McCarl. Now, if you don't include Terry McCarl in this conversation of a guy that could win this race, you're a fool.
And Clint Garner would be another driver who won this race a couple of years ago.
He did.
In that number 40 car sitting there in the outside of that third row. So Clint Garner's another driver I want to keep an eye on.
Yeah. That's a 25-lap A main tonight too, Kirk. So, I kind of wish that they would, gosh, I hate to say this, the teams probably wouldn't like this, but wouldn't it be kind of cool if we did 41 laps in honor of Jason Johnson?
Yeah, I guess it'd be all right. They got enough fuel to get there?
Yeah, I think so. Sure. Yeah, I think they would.
I'd go for 30. That'd be my number.
Well, that wouldn't be in memory of Jason Johnson.
I know it, but I'm okay with it as long as they got enough fuel to get to the end without having to take a break.
Well, I agree with you on that. Yeah, for sure.
Which they have to do for the 410 Nationals 50-lap feature, and they take a break right in the middle of it. I'm not a big favor of that, but never been. But
no, I'm not either. I hate to lose the momentum of a race because of a pit stop, right? Not when you watch NASCAR, it's not that way, because I think the most exciting thing about NASCAR is the restarts, to be honest with you.
Double file restarts, which they're back at Watkins Glen this weekend after 2 weeks off. Seems like NASCAR's been off forever. It's been, 3 weeks ago since they last had a race, but they're back on at the road course at Watkins Glen this weekend. We'll talk more about that later.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back with more Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It's made in America and sold to the world. We're so happy that they are sponsors of our show. They do such a great job in motorsports, MAV TV, MAV Plus, now their new app that they have. Folks, if you want to watch great motorsports action, you need to go to MAV TV. That's channel 402 in my neck of the woods on my TV. So Lucas Oil, they're the best, and they are the proud sponsors of our radio show, and we couldn't be more happy to have them on board. We'll be back with more Track Talk right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk. As your power steering pump ages, seal leaks may occur, causing the power steering system to lose fluid. Your power steering system may also develop an annoying squeal, and the steering may become more difficult to handle. By using Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak, you will stop the seal leaks, reduce slack in rack and pinion, eliminate the squeals and hard spots in your power steering system. It is guaranteed to stop seal leaks or your money back. Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak. Better. It works.
I had you mute down. I'm muting it. So.
The Kansas City Comets are hosting their first ever 5K run walk on Saturday, August 21st outside Cable Dahmer Arena in Independence. Comets 5K participants receive a Comets medal and 2 tickets to an exciting exhibition match later that evening when the Comets take on Omaha Kings FC at 6 p.m. For Comets 5K race info, visit kccomets.com/5K, and for tickets to the match, call 888-9-COMETS or visit Ticketmaster.com. It's the KC Comets 5K run walk and preseason match coming up on Saturday, August 21st.
Don't miss the Garmin Kansas City Marathon on Saturday, October 16th. This is Kansas City's most exciting race, and this year the race features a new course that runs past KC's favorite local landmarks and finishes in front of the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art. The Garmin KC Marathon has distance options for all fitness levels with a 5K, 10K, half marathon, and full marathon. And you won't want to miss the Finish Line Festival with free food, free beer, and live music after the race. It's the Garmin Kansas City Marathon on Saturday, October 16th. Register today at kcmarathon.org.
Do you follow Sports Radio 810 on social media? This is your reminder to give us a follow and hit that subscribe button on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Sports Radio 810. Follow along for breaking news as it happens, live coverage of press conferences, analysis and reporting from top local and national experts, fan videos, and on-the-ground coverage of your favorite local teams, as well as the best sporting events and athletes in the country. Turn on your notifications so that you never miss a beat, and follow the leader at Sports Radio 810.
Track Talk.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB and RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Again, I'm Scott Traylor. I'm up at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum, Knoxville, Iowa, directly across from Knoxville Raceway's main grandstands. Folks, if you've never been to the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum, it is a must-see venue. If you're a race fan of any type, it doesn't matter what it is, you need to show up at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum. They have some of the greatest racing memorabilia in all of sprint car racing and midget racing up here at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum. We'll visit with Bob Baker here in our next segment. But right now, Kirk, we should set up these interviews with Blake Hahn and Brady Bacon.
Let's do. Let's start off with Brady Bacon, who is a multi-time champion of the USAC non-wing sprint cars. He doesn't get in a 360 sprint car all that often, but he always comes to Knoxville every year and has a great time. He formerly ran full-time on the Lucas Oil ASCS national tour. But I would say, Scott, he's probably one of the most popular drivers in all of America. Brady's just a great guy, isn't he?
Oh, for sure. You know, the Macho Man, as they call him, we used to call him Junebug because he ate a Junebug. We talked about that with yesterday. You can see the full-length interview with Brady Bacon on our Racing Boys Facebook page if you'd like to see it all. But here's a conversation that Scotty Cook and myself had with Brady Bacon yesterday at the Racing Boys trailer.
Yeah, I was pretty happy. We don't run many half miles with the wing at all, and I think this is only our 6th wing race of the year, so can't complain about our performance, and had some speed and passed a couple cars on a track that was hard to make a lot of ground up, so pretty happy with it, and we'll see what happens tonight and see where we wind up.
Hey, Brady, it seems like you've cut back on your wing stuff this year compared to last year. It seemed like you ran quite a few more races. What's the difference?
Just kind of focusing our resources on non-wing. The schedule for USAC's up to like 50 races, so a few years ago it was only 30, 35, so that takes a lot of those extra weekends away, and have some midget races and Silver Crown, and just not a whole lot of time for extra stuff. Kids in school now and things like that. It got to stay a little closer to home, and not a lot of wing racing in Indiana.
The challenges of bringing the kids out on the road, I don't think people realize it, especially when you have a few kids. It's a huge challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Kind of every year we get a little bit better at it. They get better at it. They are kind of accustomed to it. This year, Ciciana's cousin kind of came for the summer on the road to help with the T-shirt trailer and the kids and everything, so that's been a huge help for us. And Ciciana's had to release the reins a little bit and delegate some stuff.
That's hard for a mom to do sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I've had to do it with the race team and have some good guys helping us on that, DJ working at the shop and stuff. So just having the right people helping us has been really important.
You know, on that note, it's so funny. I think you've probably finally reached the age to start to begin to realize that the older you get, the more time flies. And it feels like yesterday, on the note of the kids and the family, it was just Brady and Ciciana running up and down the road, and times have changed so much, and it's been an amazing ride for you the last 10 years. And by the way, we do miss having you out there on tour, by the way,
for sure.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. You know, you think you know which direction you're going to go, and then things change, and you have to call an audible, several times. And we've been fortunate to kind of have a lot of people stick with us and great supporters to put us in the position we're in to, kind of be a contender for the USAC championship every year.
For sure, it's been crazy. We've had some loss along the way, and I was thinking on the way up here, knowing we were going to meet you, I think it'd be interesting to get your reflection and your thoughts of days gone by with the late great Jason Johnson, because you raced so many laps with him back in the day, and what that left you and the thoughts and the memories.
Yeah, he helped me a lot. He was a little ahead of me as far as starting his own team and things like that, and asked a lot of questions, and he kind of guided me a little bit along the way. And Jesse Hockett as well kind of were pretty influential in kind of my decision to run my racing operation the way I do it today. So he had a pretty big impact on my career, and I'm thankful for it. And we miss him still.
You mentioned Jesse, and I think when people think of Jesse, he was one of the great all-around drivers. And I think when people think of Brady Bacon, they think about a great all-around driver. Guy can get in a midget, a non-wing car, a wing 410, a 360, it doesn't matter. Which one of those genres is the toughest for you to get back acclimated to once you go out and maybe do something a little bit different? Is there one form of racing that seems more difficult for you than maybe one of the others?
Wing 410 racing is probably the toughest. I mean, racing in traffic, and the tires kind of seem to change pretty regularly, and you kind of have to keep up with that, and we don't race very much, so we're kind of starting from scratch every time we come. It's not like you can go back to your notebook from 3 years ago, because even though the tires are the same, they're not the same.
Right.
And
technology, too. When 410 racing, man, those guys are on top of the technology.
Yeah, your engine program and things like that. The financial part of 410 racing is really expensive, so to keep up with that's pretty tough. So we kind of decided to kind of start focusing more on the smaller tracks with the 410 stuff, and we have a good engine here for 360 Nationals from John Cressman that runs really good, so we're able to come here and be competitive. But yeah, it's tough 410 racing, wing racing, when you don't get to do it all the time, to keep up with the guys that do it 100 times a year.
And that's just part of the interview that Scott and Scotty had with Brady Bacon on the Midway up there at Knoxville yesterday. And you can see that entire interview up on our Facebook page, Racing Boys Facebook page. It's good visit there with Brady Bacon.
Yeah, for sure. Brady will be starting 20th tonight in the A main, the 25-lap A main. So Brady has made it into the field. Tough assignment, starting at the back in the 69 car. We'll see how far he can move up during the race. All right, another guy that Scotty and I had a chance to talk to yesterday is the current Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour point leader. He has a 30-point lead over Matt Covington, and we had a chance to talk with him yesterday in the RBN trailer as well. 6 was pretty good for you because you've had some ups and downs at this place before.
Yeah, 6th place here really is a good run for us. Like you said, any other place we probably would be looking for a little better finish. But due to our results recently, honestly, it's a good night for us, and we'd be sitting pretty good come Saturday.
Yeah. Talk about the track conditions last night. I was noticing Sam, he was rolling the bottom down in 3 and 4, but down in 1 and 2, he was ripping through the center. And do you have any comment about that line going through the center here, and how does a driver do that? Is that because they're throwing the stuff up from the bottom out to the center?
Yeah, I noticed that. I watched the video after the races was over and noticed that was something he was doing. Actually, I think he made the pass for the lead through the center, which was kind of pretty neat to see. But I think typically this is something you see here at Knoxville for a little bit and last a few laps or so. And yeah, from quite a bit of moisture on the bottom. Had quite a little bit of drizzles early on in the day, and kind of kept the track pretty moist. Took a little bit to widen up, but once it widened up, it was pretty good racing. And just a lot of moisture on the bottom, was able to be thrown up through the center, and that's something that's pretty neat about Knoxville and pretty unique about it too.
I talked to you after the race, and you were pretty satisfied with your car last night.
Yeah, really, honestly, it's a good deal to be coming out right out of the box and having a good car like that. And typically it takes quite a few laps to get comfortable here, with Knoxville being so difficult and unique, really. So to be able to come here for the first time this year and to be that good right out of the box, I was really happy with how the car was, and I felt solid on the bottom, and I think that's something that you really have to be good at to run good at the 360s here.
And one other comment, I know that you weren't really happy with the last car that you had come out. It was good. You won your first race with that car, so it wasn't that bad, but it was just lacking something that you were hoping for.
Yeah, that's one of those deals. We run our cars enough, and we know how consistent they are and how they ought to be. We felt good in it, but we felt like we were also missing something too. So it was something that we kind of had a decision of. We just had to change it up and see what we could come up with. And it was a good car also. Really, we don't know exactly what was wrong with it, but after changing it up and going to a different car, we ran third the first night and was able to pick up the win the next night. So it definitely felt a little bit better, and we're glad we made the change.
I think those JR1s are one of the most underrated cars in the business, really.
Yeah, Jerry Russell, he's been around the chassis game for a long time, being with Eagle and then Maxim also, and he's gained a lot of knowledge being able to be with those guys, and it's just him and his boy now, so it's pretty neat to see what they can do with just the two-man team.
It's been a pretty amazing journey for you since you began driving a sprint car, and your loyalty to the American Sprint Car Series began, and things are really, really well in your camp after so many years of learning and so many years of struggling. 2021 has turned into quite a gym thus far.
Yeah, it's been really neat, to look back and see exactly when we started racing. 2013 we were running sprint cars pretty hot and heavy, and then 2014 we went and ran the ASCS National Tour for the first time. So I'm looking back at then to see what we knew then to now. It's really unbelievable that we were able to do as good as we did then. Being able to pick up a win our second year out was really outstanding, and just looking back on it, the stuff we've learned is unbelievable, and our team has been able to grow really a ton. And Dalton was with me from the beginning, so it's pretty neat to see just how far we've come and how much we've learned over the years, and to see how much more stuff we can learn every time we touch a track.
And I think something that you wanted to polish up on coming into 2021 between yourself and Dalton and your father was maybe stepping it up a tick on the big tracks. And it seems that every time, we don't often get to see real big tracks, but every time we do, you guys have stepped it up a little bit. Case in point, Lakeside 1 week ago, and then parking it as you did last night. That was a very impressive top 10 with a very stout field last night.
Yeah, growing up on small tracks, we definitely enjoy going to the small places. Growing up in Port City on just a little small eighth mile, we just tend to like the small tracks, and really we like the intermediate-sized tracks too. Really, over the last couple of years, we could tell obviously we needed to step up our game on the half miles. So really, that's where we kind of set our focus on, is just to be able to pick up speed. We felt like we had good cars on small tracks, intermediate tracks, and some nights we had good cars on big tracks, but we really had to focus in on our program and see exactly what we needed to change for the big tracks too. So it's been neat to see how much we've learned on the big tracks and how much stuff you got to change a little bit. And coming to Knoxville, it's a whole nother animal, really. Even compared to Devil's Bowl or other big tracks we go to, or Oskaloosa right down the road, you just have to raise them so much differently. So being able to come to Knoxville just a couple times throughout the year makes it a little difficult, but it is enjoyable to have such success with just being able to come here once this year.
That is Blake Hahn. He'll start 14th in tonight's feature event. He's got 5 wins this year. Very easily could have at least a couple of more. One at the Dirt Cup that got away from him when he ran into something not of his making, and he was leading and then flipped it at Lake Ozark Speedway early this year on a rough racetrack. So he very easily could have at least 2 more of the victories. He's got 5 right now.
Right, and I think the glaring thing about the consistency of Blake Hahn's season is we've ran 27 features this year. He's had 25 top 10s and 15 top 5s. The steady Eddie, very consistent. He has more wins than anybody other than Ryan Timms. Ryan Timms will not be running for the points this year. You have to run 80% of the races, and Ryan Timms is not doing that. Ryan Timms currently 10th in points with 5 wins. But Blake Hahn, the other person with 5 wins, 15 top 5s, 25 top 10s, and 27 starts. He's got a 30-point lead over Matt Covington and a 43-point lead over J.J. Hickle, who is a rookie with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. And it's been great to watch Blake Hahn, Matt Covington, J.J. Hickle. Those 3 drivers have changed. The lead changes happened like 6 or 7 times in the last 8 or 9 weeks. So a great point battle between those 3 drivers. It's going to come down to the final race, I believe, for the championship at the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour.
Yeah, that one race that Blake would like to forget is the one at the ditch here a couple of weeks ago when he got that stuff up in his face, up in his eye. So he recovered quickly from that, though.
He thinks that was motor oil out of Jeff Swindell's car that burned his eye. And then he had to go to Creek County. Then after a couple days, it was very painful for him to run there. But since then, it's been healing up pretty good. It looked really good yesterday when I took a look at it. So I think Blake Hahn's going to be A-OK when it comes to that burn.
Hey, you brought up Ryan Timms. We had a battle of teenagers last night in that Power I Midget race at Peevely last night, I-55 Speedway. Sheldon Hodenshield won the World of Outlaws main, but that battle between the teenagers, 13-year-old Brent Cruz and 14-year-old Ryan Timms, was classic, back and forth. But unfortunately, and I was shocked, Timms got up into the cushion and flipped it with about little over a lap to go, and Cruz sped on to victory. You remember that young kid won at Valley Speedway here a couple of weeks ago, so that's his second career victory last night. I don't think I've ever seen drivers that young in a major series like that battling it out, but they put on a show.
Kirk, last night, NWRA was racing out at Lakeside Speedway, and I know that we were doing the broadcast out there as well. We always talk about NWRA and the great success story of that series only in its second year. Last night, tell me about that race, because I was obviously watching the races here. Tell me a little bit about that race last night, Kirk.
Big night for Jack Wagner. He was able to move out in front, and he gapped the field last night. Riley Kreisel was in second place, but he just had no shot of chasing him down. It was a fairly quick feature race, but Jack Wagner was the man last night. So, good show.
And they had a good car count last night as well.
25. 25 sprint cars last night. So, hey, another highlight last night, Buzz Caster wins the E-Mod feature at
How about that?
Lakeside last night. Been a while since we've seen Buzz win a feature race. He's not a young man, by the way, Buzz. Hey, we kid because we love you, Buzz. But congratulations to Buzz Caster. Big win for him last night.
Well, I was out there watching him last week on Tuesday night. They were out there, and, 3 generations of the Caster family racing out at Lakeside Speedway. So it's always good to see that. As everybody knows, Buzz Caster, the son of the great Larry Caster, and maybe my all-time favorite promoter in Kansas City.
Hey, also, the 305 Nationals are going on at Belleville this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Last night they had the opening night. We got the free audio broadcast on Racing Boys, by the way. Jason Martin wins the Friday night preliminary last night, and they'll wrap that up tonight over at Belleville. So they had a good crowd over there, too, by the way. Even after the Midget Nationals finished up in 2017, they still draw pretty good crowds for the fair and the weekend's races that formerly was the Midget Nationals, now the 305 Nationals. So pretty good show last night at Belleville. They'll do it again tonight.
J.D. Johnson was second, I believe, Kirk. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that's good to see a good crowd over there at Belleville. That you kind of hate what's going on because there's a lot of things. You've got Peebly going on, you've got the 305 Nationals going on, you had the NWRA last night at Lakeside Speedway, you got the ASCS 360 Nationals going on up here at Knoxville. A lot of choices for sprint car and open wheel fans around the country right now, for sure.
I love this time of the year. August, it's really the biggest month of racing, is it not?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no doubt. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to visit with our friend Bob Baker from the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum right here on Track Talk, and it's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Break.
Why do I run? Is it because I'm driven? Because I love the challenge? God, no. I do it for the beer. If you're the kind of runner who does it for the beer, this summer you can get one on us with the Michelob Ultra Beer Run. Grab your run buddies and get out there, because this summer there's beer at the finish line. Sign up at ultrabeerrun.com and trade your miles for beer.
Lower your home's energy costs with Owens Corning panel insulation and get 11% off everything now at Menards. Foamular panel insulation seals buildings from air and moisture and is perfect for basement walls or below a new garage floor. Right now, save 11% on all Owens Corning panel insulation. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through August 7th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Join Union Broadcasting in thanking local companies that care.
Union Broadcasting salutes CBD American Shaman for their support of the Derek Thomas and Neil Smith Third and Long Foundation, sacking illiteracy among urban youth. Through social, cultural, and educational activities, the Third and Long Foundation helps participating children in school and beyond. You can also help by donating at thirdandlong.org. Thank you, CBD American Shaman, for being a company that cares.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Track Talk.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB and RBN, the Race Boys Broadcasting Network. I'm Scott Traylor, National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. And, you know, if we're at the Hall of Fame Museum, we're going to speak to our great friend, longtime friend of the Race Boys, Bob Baker. Bob, how you doing, my friend?
Good, Scott. Thanks for having us on this morning.
Well, you know, we're only a week away from somebody winning this great Corvette. And listen, the new vets today, this is a very sought after Corvette right here, isn't it?
It really is. We're very fortunate to have one of the rear engine Corvettes, the 2021. And this year's Corvette we're giving away next Saturday night will be the Elkhart Lake blue metallic color. And it's the 3LT, so it's the top of the line Corvette. And they're very sought after. The dealer told us as soon as we picked it up, he goes, you know, Bob, you could probably sell this right now for $10,000 more than the sticker price. And we've had people tell us it'll go for a lot more than that now. So we're really excited to find someone that's going to win this and help support the museum. It's turned into a great fundraiser for our museum. This will be the third Corvette we've given away.
And this is, when we talk about this is a mid-engine Corvette. You know, this is I think the second year they've had the mid-engine Corvette, right, Bob?
That's right. The first one we gave away was the last front-engine Corvette. Last year was the first mid-engine Corvette, so this will be the second mid-engine Corvette. And for next year, we're already working on the special edition. I think it's called an IMSA GTLM special edition Corvette that's coming out just for next year. There are very limited numbers, so we don't know if we're going to receive one of those or not yet. But that's what we're trying to get, something special for next year.
Bob, if somebody would want to purchase some tickets, they can still do that online, right?
Sure. They just have to go to winaz51corvette.com. Basically, the contest is held online. People can come into the museum and enter, but it's a lot easier for people with smartphones and computers and tablets just to go to winaz51corvette.com and make their donation online and get their tickets, and their tickets are emailed to them immediately, and they're all set for the drawing next Saturday night. We do it right before the A feature here at Knoxville Raceway, so right before the championship race, we announce the winner, and that's always a lot of fun.
I would hurry up and go to winaz51corvette.com and enter now. This is one of the most sought-after Corvettes in the industry right now, mid-engine Corvette, 495 horsepower. It's an 8-speed dual-clutch auto transmission. This is, folks, this is not just a Corvette. These are as close to a race car as you can get. Chevrolet and Corvette have done something extraordinary when they made this mid-engine Corvette. So go to winaz51corvette.com and buy your tickets today. The drawing is going to happen on August 14th. That's a week from this Saturday, and everybody needs to do that. Now let's talk about the sprint car. That's another giveaway that I always throw at least $100 down on. Talk about that a little bit.
We're very fortunate. Triple X Chassis Company in Washington supplied this year's, actually it's a 2-year program, so we'll give the sprint car away next December in 2022. But we just received it last week. It's a beautiful red, white, and black Triple X chassis, and it'll have a brand new Jamie Moyle Racing Engines 410 engine in it. We put the engine in right before we give the car away, so whoever the winner is gets a freshly dynoed, brand new 410 engine to go racing the next summer. So we're real excited about that. It's just making its first appearance this weekend here at the 360 Nationals. We'll have it at the Knoxville Nationals next week. And then it goes on the road. It goes to California, the state of Washington, goes to Ohio, goes to the PRI trade show, goes all around the country. We put some miles on our truck doing that.
Yeah. Well, I know that you have a great staff that takes care of that for you around the country, and they always work really hard for trying to sell the tickets wherever they go, bringing that car out on display. So look for that car. Now, what tracks do they go to?
Well, when we leave Knoxville after the Nationals, I believe our first track is going to be in Washington at Skagit. Steve Beitler's got a really big Sage Fruit World of Outlaw race there this year. So we'll go from Washington, then we'll go down to California, and we'll hit the Gold Cup race at Chico. So we'll go to California, and then we'll come back to the Midwest. We'll be here for the late model Nationals, and then I believe we go out to Ohio and Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, we hit the National Open at Williams Grove, and we're back into the Knoxville area. We do Lakeside Speedway when the World of Outlaws are at Lakeside in October, and then we do the PRI trade show. If they have the indoor race in St. Louis this year, the Gateway Nationals will be there. Of course, we always do the Chili Bowl down in Tulsa in January.
Yeah. Well, a lot going on now. Let's get into the good stuff. What's going on downstairs right now in the Hall of Fame, the exhibits that are down there, some of the things that the fans could see if they come up here for tonight's ASCS 360 Nationals or next weekend's 410 Nationals?
We really have two really good feature exhibits right now. Last year, we did our Salute to Champion, Greg Hodnett. And because of not having the Nationals, being able to have the Nationals last year, we felt only fair to hold that exhibit over till this year's Nationals so the people from Pennsylvania could come in and see the great exhibit. We've got 8 of Greg Hodnett's race cars. His wife, Sherry, was very generous with driver's uniforms, helmets, and all of Greg Hodnett's racing memorabilia, from Wheaties boxes to his college graduation degree that he has on display. And a lot of the things that people didn't know about Greg was the technical aspect that Greg brought to sprint car racing. He was probably one of the first people in the country to have a shock dyno inside his trailer because of all the testing he'd done with electronic components on the sprint car chassis, shocks, and suspension. So we have a lot of those testing pieces in the museum, and you can actually see Greg's writings and everything he did to fine-tune the suspension on race cars. And in addition to that, and it's really been overlooked, but it's real popular, we have 12 Knoxville National winning race cars from past Knoxville Nationals in the museum right now. So we've got Kenny Wells' old 1965 super modified. People in Kansas City will remember that, with the squared-off sportsman-type tail on it that just about everybody in Kansas City drove. I think we had a list of 19 different drivers that drove that car once. So that's in our timeline down there. We've got Steve Kinser's first Knoxville National winning race car, the 1980 Vice Grips car. We've got the car that won the last Knoxville Nationals in 2019, the David Gravel car that sits in the front window next to the Corvette. So 12 Knoxville National winning cars. Took a little bit of time to get those together. We're real excited to have those and for people to come and see them and take pictures and remember the past Nationals.
Yeah. Bob, before we let you go, let's talk about what people can come up here. I know there's a lot of activities that goes on during the 410 Nationals. People can come over here and visit the Hall of Fame, but you also have some shows that are going to be taking place as well, right?
Right. We do fanfare forums on our second floor where we're sitting right now, and they're different events where people can meet drivers, promoters, sanctioning officials, Johnny Gibson, the voice of the World of Outlaws, all sorts of different people that are involved in the industry of sprint car racing, and they can listen to their story, and then when it's over, they can ask questions about whether it be rules, racing, whatever it is, sprint car oriented, and then afterwards they can meet these people, and then they can get pictures taken, shake hands, and do that. So it's a great way for race fans to get to meet the personalities in the sport of sprint car racing. The fanfare forums, we do 2 to 3 of those every day. In addition to that, we have driver autograph sessions in our museum at 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 3 o'clock every day. Shane Carson helps us set all those up, so shout out to Shane for doing that. We usually have about 3 to 4 different drivers at the same time at each of those times. So 3 driver autograph sessions every day. And then on Saturday, the last day of the Nationals, our big Knoxville Nationals auction at 11:30 up on our second floor. We do about 5 auctions a year across the country, and the Nationals auction is our largest auction. We have lots of custom-made one-off pieces that you won't find anywhere else. They're made just by sprint car people. Like Kenny Jacobs made a great coffee table and it's all sprint car oriented. Inside it, there's 3 drivers' uniforms. There's a Sammy Swindell, a Steve Kinzer, and a Donnie Schatz driver's uniform that are all autographed inside that coffee table. So those are the type of items that we'll have at this auction on Saturday of the Knoxville Nationals at 11:30 here at the museum.
Bring your money, folks. Bid high. That's what we're telling you to do right there. Bob, is there anything that we haven't touched on that's going on at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum?
No, I think we've hit a lot of things. Just want to invite people to come up. You know, the weather looks like it's going to be great for today, Saturday. Tomorrow, the Capitani Classic will be here Sunday night, and that's our last race until we start the Knoxville Nationals on Wednesday, the 11th, and 4 nights of Knoxville Nationals. It's for race fans, it's like Christmas. You know, Scott, everybody looks forward to these 4 nights, 4 days of racing in Knoxville, where it's just parades, fun, fanfare forums, the museum, all the things going on in Knoxville. It's the one chance a year you get to visit with all your friends from sprint car racing across the country. So we look forward to it every year. And the hard part is the last day when it's over. You know, it's going to be another year before that happens.
Okay, Bob, thanks so much for being on the show. We appreciate you, buddy, for everything you do for Racing.
Thank you guys for everything you do for racing too. Thank you, Kirk. Thanks.
All right, Kirk. Hour number 2 will be coming up here in just a moment on sports. We'll wrap up here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, and then we'll move over to the internet. You can watch us on our Facebook, our Twitter account, YouTube page as well. Also, racingboys.com, 4 different platforms you can watch the show on. We hope that you'll join us. Hour number 2. And Kirk, you got anything to add there?
I do have something to add. Next weekend, too, I want to remind everybody, the NHRA Menards Nationals is going on at Heartland Motorsports Park next weekend. We'll have a lot of coverage of that next weekend, but just want to get everybody fired up for that.
90.
So that same weekend is the Knoxville Nationals, so keep an eye on that. Oh, by the way, modifieds tonight, USMTA Modifieds, USMTS. At Lucas Oil Speedway last night, Jake O'Neill won at Humboldt, so a big weekend for USMTS mods here in the area.
60 seconds.
Kirk, what do we got going on broadcast-wise tonight?
We do not have a live broadcast tonight. Well, we do. We have live audio from the second night of the Belleville 305 Nationals. That's free audio link. You don't have to log in to listen. So we've got that on racingboys.com, so check that out.
Not video, it's audio only.
Audio only, and it's free.
Yeah, it's free. Doesn't cost a penny.
No.
All right. Well, hey, don't forget, hour number 2, we're going to have Lee Spencer's going to join us, and we'll talk about
Aaron Reitzel and what happened to him. We got to talk about that. Yeah, we're going to talk about that right at the top of hour number 2. Watch it on Facebook, Twitter, our YouTube page, and racingboys.com. For Kirk Elliott and all 15. The boys at Racing Boys HQ and Blake back at Sports Radio 810, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We hope that you'll follow us over on the internet for hour number 2.
Kansas City's hometown sports station, Sports Radio 810.
Taking care of your car is a responsibility. It ensures the long life of your car and its expensive components. That's why Lucas Oil takes automotive protection so seriously. Lucas heavy-duty oil stabilizer bonds with motor oil to shield engines from heat and wear. So take pride in caring for your car and pass that pride and knowledge to the next generation for years of smooth, reliable driving on the long road ahead. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
For poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas fuel treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas fuel treatment. It works.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Spirit Specialty Sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Alumatech Products is the premier aluminum cabinet company as well as custom aluminum trailer manufacturer. They specialize in custom cabinetry and production units. All the cabinets are built in-house by exceptional craftsmen. Alumatech Products also offer truck caps that are built from the ground up, starting with a framework all the way to a complete build. The folks at Alumatech are driven to produce quality, long-lasting products through innovative design to best suit you. For more information, go to alumatechproducts.com.
Missouri's must play getaway. Osage National Golf Resort.
3 9-hole courses to choose from at the Lake of the Ozarks in the Osage River Valley. Stay and play packages in our first-class condos. A beautiful clubhouse complete with pro shop and exercise facilities. A large pool for relaxation and families. The Eagle View Sports Bar and Grill. Great wedding facilities. Go online and make your tee time today.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, SprintCarStuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
We not only look to the future, we design it. Our excellence and professionalism in craftsmanship, quality, and safety is unmatched in the industry. We are proud suppliers to some of the most elite race teams in the world. We build it, you drive it. We are here to help you win.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties.
Here we go.
Contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Tuesday, August 3rd is a special Wayne Sprint Car presentation at the famed Lakeside Speedway. It's the road to Knoxville with the Lucas Oil American Sprint Car Series National Tour along with your RacingBoys.com ASCS Warrior Region presented by Impact Signs, Awnings, and Wraps presented by Terry.
You get out of the country because you're listening to Racing Boys, and if you ain't listening to them, you get out of the country because you're a communist. I love the Racing Boys. Like Mater says, they make me happier than a tornado in a trailer park. You know the funny thing about that is the Larry voice and the Mater voice are exactly the same. Get her done!
Welcome to Hour 2 of Track Talk on the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Here again are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. I'm Scott Trailer. I'm at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville, Iowa. Kirk Elliott back at Racing Boys HQ, along with Adam Bartlett and Todd Surprise, our two producers back there. Always doing a great job when we're out here on the road. And don't forget today, folks, we're going to have a few drivers up to the Racing Boys trailer, and we'll do a few interviews like we did yesterday. Yesterday, we had Garrett Williamson, Brady Bacon, and Blake Hahn on with us. Who knows going to show up today? Not sure who exactly is going to show up. But, Kirk, it's been a kind of a whirlwind of a week for Aaron Reitzel of Roth Motorsports.
Oh, do you think so?
I think it's been a kind of a challenging week for Aaron Reitzel.
Yeah.
Who has been suspended from the World of Outlaws for 30 days, fined $10,000. His car owner, Dennis Roth, has been fined as well, $10,000. And those fines that fine from Aaron Reitzel needs to be paid by August 28th, or he will be subject to additional penalties and fines if he does not pay that $10,000 by that time. He's also been deducted 1,000 World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series 2021 championship drivers points. And that's a big blow to him and his Rookie of the Year campaign. In addition, Roth Motorsports has been fined $10,000, and they have been deducted 500 World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series Championship owners points. So a big blow to Roth Motorsports. The question is, does Dennis Roth bring back Aaron Reitzel after Aaron Reitzel, if you haven't heard, took a sticker off of his car that had been approved by the World of Outlaws and inspected by the World of Outlaws and put it on a chassis that, quite honestly, was undersized tubing. And lightweight tubing was found on this car that he took the sticker off and put the NASCAR inspection sticker on this other car that had illegal tubing. I can't believe that Aaron Reitzel would try to pull something like that off. 4 wins for Roth Motorsports this year. Kirk, this is a huge blow to a driver that is wanting to make sure that he is a mainstay with the World of Outlaws for many years to come. Listen, 4 wins for Roth Motorsports, that's more wins in 1 year than he's had in a long time, right? And this is the tough question. Does Dennis Roth, and this is the question to our listeners out there, if they want to chime in on our Facebook page, is this enough to lose your ride with Dennis Roth and Roth Motorsports, or is Aaron Reitzel so good that you keep him on board? What would you do, Kirk?
Oh boy, that's a tough call. If I was in Dennis Roth's shoes, I would really think about replacing him as the driver, because not only did he, if I'm sitting in his shoes, he put my race team in a bad spot. You know, the integrity is everything in life, not just racing, but your integrity means a lot. And Aaron Reitzel put all of that and put Dennis Roth in a bad position here. In my opinion, this is as blatant cheating as anything you'll ever see. I mean, there's just no question, you know, what he was caught doing was to try to cover up what he knew was illegal. This is not just a mistake. This is not just, you know, stretching the borders and, you know, the boundaries as, you know, racers have done in the past. This is doing something to cover up what he knew was wrong, and it put his car owner in a bad spot. Now, Aaron Reitzel's a talented race car driver, and he might get past this, but he's going to have to do a lot of contrition and a lot of groveling to come back in the good graces of me if I was the team owner. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Hey, tell Todd I can hear him talking in the background. All
Sorry
right?
about that.
All right. listen, you're right, Kirk. I'm not sure what I would do. I mean, talented drivers like Aaron Reitzel, they don't come along all the time, right? Dennis Roth has went through a series of drivers here over the last 4 or 5 years, right? And nobody's won 4 races in 1 year in a Roth Motorsports car in quite some time, right? Maybe back to the Shane Stewart days or the Danny Lasowski days. I'm not sure. But what do you do? Do you take a chance and forgive the guy for what he did, or do you give up on him? And me personally, I think that Aaron Reitzel pays his fine, and I if I'm Dennis Roth, I'm not so sure that I might hang on to Aaron Reitzel because he's so talented. I mean, where are you going to find talent like that, Kurt?
Well, I agree. As I said earlier, I don't know what I would do if I was in Dennis Roth's shoes, but there's going to have to be a process that Aaron Reitzel's going to have to go through to say, hey, I was wrong, and, he can come back from this. I forgive anybody, but time will tell over the next few weeks if I'm in Dennis Roth's shoes whether I'd hang on to this guy. And I wouldn't rule it out. But there's going to have to be some things that would happen on Aaron Reitzel's part to get me back in his good graces if I were the owner. I mean, that's just where I'm sitting right now. Let's recap. And you pointed out what he did. I mean, they looked at this. He won the race last Friday night at Ransomville over that local
and they
guy.
let him keep that victory,
Right.
by
They
the
let
way.
him keep that victory. But the next night before the races at Weedsport is when they did this inspection. And the World of Outlaws technical director, Tom Devitt, noticed that the suspicious peculiarities with the chassis paint and that the chassis inspection sticker appeared to be tampered with. And when confronted with these observations, Reitzel admitted to Devitt and the World of Outlaws sprint car director Carlton Reimers that he had taken a white chassis, which he knew had been previously disallowed for competition by Devitt due to the undersized tubing, painted it black, and then removed an inspection sticker from a different legal chassis and placed it on the chassis. Come on, have you ever heard of such a thing? Of trying to cover up what he knew was illegal.
I've
never heard anything like this.
Me and Adam are trying to figure out, does the smaller tubing, is it the weight or is it the way it drives in the car? I mean, what does that do, Scott?
Well, first of all, the weight is a play. And second of all, if you get in a really bad wreck, tubing's going to give up a lot easier.
But
so there's a couple reasons why they would. First of all,
it's a safety factor.
It's a safety factor. But the thing about it is that the thing that I look at is that when you take a sticker off a car that's been inspected and you move it to another car, that is about as high up there when it comes to penalties, or should be. And I think the World of Outlaws did it. I mean, look, they fined him $10,000. And they find a car owner and 1,000 driver's points, 500 owner's points.
Yep.
World of Outlaws is not going to fool around with people that are going to monkey around with these cars. And listen, the one thing that World of Outlaws is really good at, don't jack with them.
Yeah, I applaud the Outlaws for doing what they did. I applaud them. They didn't mess around with this one. They made a big statement here. Don't you ever do this to anyone. Don't ever try this again.
Right.
So does the weight when they run the car? Like I said, this is coming from a question from somebody like I said, I know some stuff just enough to get me hurt. So when they weigh these cars, Scott, at the end of the night, is he able to? Since his car weighs a little less, is he able to put more fuel? I'm just kind of curious on how they went.
No. So what happens is when your car is light, you're able to put the weight where you want it on the car.
Gotcha. That's the question. Me and Adam were trying to figure out what we were. So that makes sense. I see. So the weight distribution changes when you have a small. You can, like you said, load it up on wherever you need it to be. So that makes sense. But no, I was trying to explain to him that taking a sticker off of it in one car and putting it on another, something that you knew that was different if it hadn't been ran through tech. I can understand that, but he knew that it wasn't, so therefore that's what makes it kind of look really, really bad. I mean, if it was just a car that hadn't went through tech and he just said, we don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's fine, that's one thing. But it had already been through tech and said, no, this one can't be used, right? And then that was where I think that's where they came down on him.
And Scott, Dennis Roth is not at the race. He's not an on-site owner, right? Just kind of talk about him a little bit. He probably wasn't even there, right? Dennis Roth.
I would doubt it, Dennis. Steve said, I would fire Reitzel, cost the team owner money and reputation. So there's one vote. Yeah. I see that Dave Tyson's in. He's up here at Knoxville. I know he's up here. We've got listeners listening in from Winchester, Kansas. Rick Millsap hanging out with us here on Racing Boys. As I mentioned, Dave's up at Savannah, Missouri. Mr. Herrera, Hiawatha, Kansas. So appreciate everybody tuning in to the show this morning. So that's the question to the people that are out there listening to the show. If you want to call in and voice your opinion, you could do so at 816-833-8553, 816-833-8553. If you'd like to be a part of the show, it doesn't matter if you're a racer or not. We'll take you. Tim's checking in from Iowa City. Tim, appreciate you.
Here's the way I would look at it, Scott. Over the next few weeks, if Parker Price Miller jumps in that car and does well with it and starts winning races, that doesn't bode well for Aaron Reitzel's future. That'd be one way I would look at it. So I mean, Reitzel out of the car not because he got hurt or something that wasn't his fault. But if you put the Parker Price Miller in it and he starts doing well in it, that would not bode well for Aaron. But I think a lot of it would depend on how Aaron handles this over the next few weeks of whether or not I'd bring him back if I was the owner.
Listen, PPM is a very talented driver, right? And if he goes out there and sets the world on fire in the 83 car, you're right, Kirk. I think that doesn't vote well for Aaron Reitzel. I think that he could cost him a ride.
Sure. We'll see. I think right now we'll see.
Here's the thing. What other a talented driver is out there available right now? Nobody.
Well, not of Aaron Reitzel's caliber, that's for sure. I would agree with that.
Well, hold on a second. Maybe that's not true. Maybe you work a deal with a Ryan Timms.
Is he old enough he's not even old enough to run Knoxville?
He's not old.
The reason why Ryan Timms is not at Knoxville is because he's not old enough, right? Don't you have to be 16 at Knoxville?
Yes, you do.
So he ran a midget last night at Peebly instead. So that he'd be out till he's old enough.
Ken says he has shown tendencies. Why take the chance on a death penalty? And I'm with you, Ryan. Listen, do I think PPM's as talented as Aaron Reitzel? No, I don't.
I would agree.
Aaron Reitzel is one of those guys that just don't come along very often. I mean, for God's sake, he won the All-Star Circuit of Champions in his rookie year, right?
What was he thinking? He's so talented. What was he thinking about, Scott? Why would he do this?
He was thinking about winning, Kirk. That's what he was thinking about.
But didn't he understand what the consequences might be for if he got caught? Or did he just obviously didn't think he would get caught?
He didn't think he would get caught, or why would he do it?
Right. I don't know.
Obviously, Aaron didn't think he would be caught. It's obvious.
Yeah. But now, anybody tries this again, this is what's going to happen to you. The World of Outlaws made a huge statement this week with the fines and penalties they came down with here, in my mind. $10,000, a $10,000 fine in NASCAR is not that big a deal. But you start fining team owners and drivers $10,000 apiece, that is a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
Frog Hall says, I'd keep him go out and win races after this debacle. No biggie.
No biggie, huh? Okay.
Hey, Ryan, we appreciate you listening in from Irvine, California. He's leaving for Knoxville on Monday, so look us up when you get here. Hopefully I'm still here. We'll see. I'm supposed to go on a float trip next week, Kirk.
Yeah, I know that. So
but I'm not sure that's going to happen because our friend Matt Ward, who I'm supposed to go on that trip with, had knee surgery yesterday. So we'll have to see if that works out.
Going on a float trip a week after knee surgery, that's probably not going to work.
That probably is not a good idea.
No.
Tim says winning is everything, right?
Right.
Is it?
Well, to a lot of people it is. I would agree with that in most cases. Winning, covers up a lot of stuff.
Eric says the only thing with adding weight, you are limited on where you can mount the weight, unlike a stock car. He said, I would start looking for another driver. There are plenty of drivers out there in family-owned teams that are looking for an opportunity.
But here's
you're right,
thing.
Eric. You're absolute. Let me just say this. You're absolutely right, Eric. There is a ton of young talent, but who's older than 16? Who's the driver that you would go for? Let's start naming some drivers, and we can all say we go out and get another driver, right? But who is the other driver? Let's start thinking about who's available right now to get in your car, a World of Outlaw caliber driver. Now, let's just remember that. This is the World of Outlaws, the best of the very best in sprint car racing, right? Who's out there? What person would you give that opportunity to? Who is it?
Would you try to coax Darren Pittman back in the seat, or does he just want to quit for good?
No.
Is he done for?
I'm not
sure?
going old. I'm going young.
Oh, okay.
Listen, if I'm going to invest a lot of money into somebody, I want to invest in somebody that's going to be around for a while. Right? I don't want to invest in somebody that's going to retire in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So who is that guy?
I don't know.
To me, it would be Ryan Timms if he were old enough, but that would be me.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to wait a couple of years to get him in a seat. So
yeah,
that's the way that works. Now, I just we'll just see over the next few weeks just what happens in terms of. I'm willing to give Aaron Reitzel a second chance. I'm always willing to give somebody a second chance. But let's see how you respond to this whole thing publicly.
But somebody, Devin Borden. Now, there's a good one. That's a good name right there. Devin Borden has been running out in PA here as of late. And let me tell you, that kid is a gasser. His dad was a championship driver, sprint car driver as well. The kid's got a lot of talent. He was running with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. When they got out to PA, some people noticed his talent, and they plucked him away from the national tour, and he's been doing pretty good out there ever since. So I would definitely put Devin Borden. Connor Daly, another driver's name that's popping up. Frog, listen, Sam Haferteef, no chance Sam Haferteef is leaving Hill Racing. There's no way in the world that would happen. Hill Racing is Miles Hill is maybe one of the best car owners in sprint car racing. He's got all the funds. He's got tons of money. I mean, look, he's got 3 sprint car teams out there. He's got his daughter, Alex. He's got Dylan Westbrook, and he's got Sam Haferteef. There's no way that Sam would leave Hill Racing. There's no way in the world. Miles Hill is one of the nicest guys and such a motivator. He doesn't get real excited, and he always pumps his drivers up. And if they have a bad day, he tells them, don't worry about it. We'll race again. So Miles Hill is a great, great car owner. No way.
What about Anthony Macri from out of Pennsylvania? He's a pretty good driver.
Yeah.
I just thought of
Tony
his
says
name.
Jack Wagner.
There you go.
He says there's a lot of PA drivers. Craig says there's a lot of PA drivers that Jake Peters is coming up. Buddy Kofoid. There's another one.
Yeah, Buddy
Kofoid is
Kofoid,
gonna be-
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he'd
Buddy-
be near
but
the
how
top
old
of
is
the
Buddy,
list.
though? How old is Buddy?
He's still young. I mean, I don't know. I forgot.
Dave, is Buddy
in his
Kofoid,
20s.
Is he
He's 19 or 20.
19 or 20? Yeah, so he's old enough to work
Yeah.
Listen, there's a good one. Kofoid, like Ryan said, though, he's going to be going NASCAR racing, so I doubt that somebody's going to pluck him away for sure.
Lee
hate
Spencer,
that, don't you?
are you there, Lee Spencer?
I'm here.
Where you
Hey,
at?
Lee. How you doing, Lee?
We're in Cody, Wyoming, on our way to Yellowstone.
Oh, my.
Oh, how about that? Nice little vacation. Hey, Lee, so what do you think about Aaron Reitzel getting busted for trying to take a sticker off a car that's legal and put it on an illegal car? The penalty that the World of Outlaws put down, and then you look at the points, that's going to cost him the Rookie of the Year title, obviously, right? What do you think about all the shenanigans of Aaron Reitzel?
My question is, has it cost him his job yet? I mean, I haven't seen anything come out, from the team. I'm more concerned about, I don't know about the team. I mean, if you're, I don't know, if you're running for Rookie of the Year and you don't go to Knoxville, I don't see. You guys know him a lot better than I do, and quite frankly, I was shocked when that all happened. And I apologize for being out in the wilderness. We planned this trip a year ago when we didn't know what the world was going to be like, and so I didn't think the Olympics were going to happen. So it was that one kind of I wouldn't have bet on that one, but it did. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, what in the world is going on here? And, I just wonder, I have never seen a release that comes from a sanctioning body that was so clear cut and, explained everything, didn't mince words about what had happened, what was going on. And
you were impressed by that, weren't you, Lee? We all were.
That blew my socks off. I've got to tell you, because if NASCAR was ever that forthcoming when somebody had a cheated up car, we've all probably keeled over. So,
well, I will tell you, Lee, per my sources, and my sources really solid, that Aaron Reitzel's not out of the woodwork yet on losing that job. So we'll just have to see what happens. But I guarantee it. My source is very, very solid that Aaron Reitzel's not out of the woodwork. Yeah, for sure.
Your sources are tons better than mine, but I was just kind of, curious how that would be handled, because clearly he's shown, tremendous potential in his rookie season with the Outlaws, but you have to wonder, is this the first time they were caught? Have they been caught before? And, they said, don't bring it back again. I mean, I don't have to tell you how racing works. If you're not cheating, you're not trying, right?
Right. That's for sure.
It's all about the show, right? It's all about putting on a show. And so, that would kind of be my question is this the first time it happened? Was the team warned in the past? All kinds of little stuff goes on that behind the scenes that you usually hear about later. So, I'm kind of curious what they do beyond, has there been a release as far as who they're going to put in the car for Knoxville?
Parker Price Miller.
Parker's
in the car.
Price Miller.
I thought
PPM.
that was this weekend, and Parker's already committed to somebody else, right, for Knoxville?
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I just assumed after talking to Parker Price Miller that he was in for this weekend. So maybe I'm wrong on that
He's
one.
in this weekend at Peevely, but who's in at Knoxville?
I assumed it was Parker Price Miller, but maybe you know more than I do.
Yeah, you guys might want to check on that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not,
I'll do a little.
I don't have anything confirmed yet because But from what I was hearing, that he had already committed to another team for Knoxville.
Well,
things are fluid, right?
We brought up some younger names here. You weren't a party to that conversation, but who else would you look at to put in that race car? And we brought up some interesting young men. Buddy Kofoid was one of them, but I brought up Anthony Macri, 21 years old, out of Pennsylvania. He dominates the Port Royal Speedway and has done well out there in the Pennsylvania whenever the Outlaws have been out there. So what other young drivers are available that you could put in that ride?
Well, is Tim Clausen going to have his own entry with Sunshine?
Sunshine might be a person to look at because let me tell you.
I mean, unless Tim's committed to running, because they've run other races, right?
Yeah.
They've kind of played around with that this year.
He's running the 360 Nationals at Knoxville this weekend.
You know what,
so
Lee?
I would think that he's preparing to get in, and I haven't seen an entry list yet, so I'd kind of have to look things up.
Tyler Courtney is one of those guys that really pleasantly surprised me how well he had quick success in a wing sprint car.
He's not lacking having a pair and going out there and mixing it up, is he?
He's the most obvious name that we didn't bring up earlier, Lee.
I mean, I truly believe he is the future of the Outlaws. Although they're in All Stars now, I truly believe he will be the face of the Outlaws in years to come, just because he's very well spoken. He gets up on the wheel, and he's not, he's easy on the eyes. And it's been a long time since the Outlaws have had somebody that is that, knocks everything out of the park. And that's not to take anything away from Brad Sweet, because Brad Sweet has been a phenomenal champion. And you talk about whenever I've needed something, I text him, he gives me a time, he shows up. He's great. Donnie is phenomenal. Donnie has, couldn't ask for anything better than that. And, those two guys just have been in my short, period of time of working with that series. Those two have just been phenomenal. But you talk about somebody who can take that series to the next level and, just knock it out of the park. That's Tyler Courtney.
I would agree with that.
PPM is driving for Guy Forbrook, the 5 car at Knoxville.
Okay.
See, I thought I had heard that.
Thank you, Steve and Ryan, for that. You know what? I knew that, but I'm getting old and I forget things. And I had a conversation with PPM here the other day, and he mentioned that to me. But my old brain isn't functioning. I probably need to get on some of that. What's that memory medicine? Prevagen.
Yeah,
I need some Prevagen.
We'll have the Prevagen tour for the next round. Racing Boys presented by Prevagen.
That's what I need. I need Racing Boys presented by Prevagen, and me and Kirk need to get on some of the medicine so our memory is a little bit better. Because I'm getting old. And it's not fun getting old and not remembering things, is it, Lee?
You guys have a lot more experience with, than I do. So please tell me the last time you saw somebody make the transition like Tyler Courtney has, and just been so phenomenal his first season going into.
I'll give you one name, Aaron Reitzel.
Yeah, well, he's not a factor this year.
Hey, listen, Aaron Reitzel won the All-Star Circuit of Champions in his rookie year, and then backs it up, right?
Okay.
I mean, I think Aaron Reitzel. Listen, there's just not a lot of people out there that have the win it or wear it mentality of Aaron Reitzel. Aaron Reitzel will throw you a right rear as quick as anybody I've ever known. And if you see that right rear coming, you better take it serious, right? Aaron Reitzel's not playing. When you see him getting ready to throw a big old giant right rear at you, believe it's coming.
Tell me this.
Yeah, I was going to say, and another thing, Reitzel, he doesn't mind being the heel. right? He kind of enjoys
every
wearing the
sport needs
black
one of
hat.
those.
Yeah.
I think it all depends on how Aaron Wrightsville handles himself over the next few weeks, Lee. Whether or not, if I was the team owner, whether I'd keep him in there, but I wouldn't fire him right away.
Well, I mean, the success that they've had is undeniable, right? But, you're looking at the biggest, one of the biggest, if not the biggest event of the season with Knoxville. Do you go and you get a veteran like Darren Pittman who already has a relationship with Roth, right?
No.
I mean,
No.
I have no knowledge of this. I'm just talking out of my common sense, hole. But, do you go and get somebody that the team already knows and has had success with in the past?
Yeah, no announcement has been made yet of who's going to be in that car at Knoxville.
Hey, Darren Pittman won one race in that car, didn't he?
Right. Reutzels knocked it out of the park, but he's, 2/3 of his age or whatever.
I'm just going to find me a young, talented driver that's not afraid to throw right rears. That's what I'm going to find. And
So
listen,
Copeland is
as we
driving with a
know,
broken wrist,
hey,
is he
listen,
not?
Lee, as we know, there's plenty of young drivers in midget racing right now that love to throw right rears, right? Midget racing, you see bombs all the time, right? Go over there, pluck you one of those young kids over there that's not afraid, hasn't busted his ass real bad or rung his bell once, and get him over there and put him in your car. Find a kid that's really setting the world on fire like a Buddy Kofoid. Somebody like that.
I'd put Anthony Macri in that car if it were me.
What's the age limit?
16, I
How old do you have to
believe.
be, or is there an age limit?
I think 16.
Okay.
Pittman,
Really?
Ryan just informed us, and Ryan, I should know all this. Pittman is in the Swindell Speed Lab 39 at Knoxville.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, all these guys have made commitments already. It's going to be hard to find somebody put in that car
Mm-hmm.
at the last
and
moment.
Shane's driving for Justin Marks.
Yeah.
How about this? If you're going to get an old guy, how about going and plucking Shane Stewart out of Port City Raceway?
I think he's already in a
I
car.
just said Shane's driving for Justin Marks.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
driving
you
Justin
did?
Marks.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
part of that deal when he ran I-70 Motorsports Park. Part of that same situation. So
Gotcha.
Shane's already.
Gotcha.
Hey, I got an idea. I'm just throwing this out there.
Okay, don't get so excited, Kurt.
Roth Motorsports won the Knoxville Nationals back in 1998 with Danny Lasowski behind the wheel. Throw Danny in there. Make an old time.
I don't think-
I think he's busy crew chiefing.
No, I don't think so.
Hey,
I
were
just
you
use that as a
I'm
verb,
just
which
kid-
I
yeah.
usually don't.
I'm just
Were you
throwing
guys-
it out there for fun.
were you guys a little shocked on the lack of performance from Brian Brown on the 360 Nationals? I think 29th in points right now.
I have not been able to hook onto Dirt Vision since they changed the app.
Well,
I've heard some complaints about that, Lee.
I'm not complaining. I'm a happy customer, but I have not been able. I have all this. I was watching something I didn't realize, and that happened to me last week with you guys. I thought I was watching something current, and it was from the vault. I was like, this is really bad. I have to put my glasses on before I go to the app.
Well, it is. It's been
Anyway.
a challenge. It's been a challenging week for Dirt Vision. I'll say that. Brian Dunlap and those guys, good friends of ours. Yeah, I feel for them. We've been there, done that. So it's been a tough
I
week.
don't wish any. I don't wish any bad luck on any broadcasting.
No,
Oh
company
God,
at
no!
all.
I'm just
Never.
saying. Me being the old fogey that I am, I'm not as hip to figuring things out. It's teaching the old dog new tricks, kind of.
Well,
mentality.
they're working their way through it, but the worst part about what happened to Dirt Vision was last night. This is not their fault. They had a power outage at I-55 Speedway last night during the A main, and the PA went out and their main cameras went down during the A main, so they had to shoot the A main with a drone last night with no
Oh, my
PA.
goodness.
How about that? And I really
At least
feel
the
for him
drone
for
was
that.
there.
That kind of thing would happen to us, right, Scott?
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's happened to everybody if you've been in this business long enough, right?
Oh, you're going to have technical difficulties. It
Yeah.
just, it's bound to happen. But I
Happens.
mean, it's, I'm getting reports from people on, I don't have my normal command center where I have the 2 TVs and my laptop set up to watch everything.
Well, thank
But
God
anyway,
for thank God for the
Tanner
drone
won his
shot.
second race in a row.
Right. Thank God for the
Huh?
drone shot that they had the drone shot. That saved him last night.
Well, that's good.
I
At
did
least
get
they
to
had
watch
something.
Tanner go back to back in midget week, Pennsylvania midget week, so that was good. And
Yeah.
poor T-Mez, man, just got into lap traffic, and it did not work out well for him because he was hooked up.
Yeah, Tanner Thorson's got it going on the last couple of nights out east.
Oh, he does. I mean, why not give Tanner Thorson a shot? I mean, there's Tanner Thorson. He looked really good. Axum has looked really good. Why not T-Mez? I mean, it just depends. I don't know if he's got a ride. I mean, there's all kinds of talent, that you can choose from.
Sure.
Who did T-Mez get all mad at the other night and jump in his car and start jerking him
Axum.
around a little bit? Who was
Wasn't it Emerson Axum? Didn't the kid cut him off?
Yeah.
Pursley? Yeah, Pursley. Yeah, Jason Pursley. So-
Emerson's had a run in or
was
two.
it Pursley?
Emerson's
Okay.
had a run in or two here in the past couple of weeks too. Remember that one out at
Yeah, he and
Fairbury,
T-Mez
Nebraska?
got into it too. Yeah, I don't think there's any love lost between those two either.
It was Axum, wasn't it?
Yep.
That's what I
It was
said.
Axum.
Emerson.
Yeah,
Axum.
no. I was talking to Dave over here next to me.
Sorry.
One of the great minds in all of history of motorsports around the Kansas City area. But it was Axum. You're right, Lee. And he got in there and kind of shook him pretty hard before the officials got there to him.
Yeah, I didn't think that was going to end well.
I didn't either. No. Hey, Lee, what else you got going on?
But I mean, that kid's got tremendous talent.
Oh, for sure.
No question about that.
Yeah.
How about the teenagers going at it last night at Peebly and the Power Eye Midgets? We had a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old swapping the lead back and forth last night, and Ryan Timms, the 14-year-old, got too high up in the cushion and flipped it. And it was Brent Cruz the winner.
I'll have to go back and see the replay of that, but that's a home game for Power Eye with them being based right across the river over in Illinois from Peebly. But Schrader puts on a hell of a show, so kudos to them. That's always a great kind of warm up for Knoxville too.
Sheldon Haudenschild seems to have that track mastered. He always seems to do well at that racetrack, doesn't he?
He really does, and he's had some ups and downs lately. So he said that I think we were watching like the between teasers that they run during dead air time on Dirt Vision, and they asked him what nickname do you hate being called the most, and it was like Little Wild Child. But my God, if he's not, I mean, I don't know who the hell is, right?
Right. Hey, Kirk, Eric said Macri on a half mile, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I brought his name up, because he's so good at Port Royal Speedway and those big racetracks. Macri really shines. He's 21 years old. I think he's a rising talent, in my mind. The kid's really
He's
good.
totally unassuming too.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know, he looks like is the youngest of my three sons.
Yeah, he doesn't say, he's not a man of words, but, he's a hell of a wheel man, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
He's fun to watch. And anytime that they, the Plus go against the Pennsylvania Posse, he's always in the mix. He and Lance DeWeese, they're always in the mix. But, Macri of that younger Pennsylvania Posse generation he's a force.
I think he'd be really good.
Lee, what's the big story in the world of NASCAR this week?
Watkins Glen.
Yeah. Is Christopher Bell got a chance
Chase Elliott is going for straight at Watkins Glen. They were off last year. They didn't race in New York during the pandemic, but he's going to go for three 3 straight this Sunday. We got a doubleheader today with Trucks and Xfinity.
And nobody's won 3 in a row at Watkins Glen before, right?
No. But here's something else that's going to be fun to watch. AJ Allmendinger is filling in for, is it Chase Purdy on the he came down with COVID, and so AJ Allmendinger is going to run a truck. He's going to do the double today at Watkins Glen, and it's going to be really hard to bet against him.
Yeah, he's going to be really good.
He said it's his first truck start since 2008. And I am going to warn you guys, I am getting ready to go through a tunnel, and if I lose you, I apologize.
All right. Okay. All right, Lee. NASCAR is going to reinstate indoor mask policy. Talk about that a little bit, Lee.
Well, it hasn't been that long. I think it was Charlotte that, we were still wearing masks. So, I think it's kind of a necessary evil right now.
I think Lee
she's
went
in the
into
tunnel.
the tunnel.
I think she might be coming out of the tunnel here any moment now.
How long is that?
There might be light at the end of the tunnel here, Kurt.
I'm going into Buffalo Bill Dam.
I didn't know they had tunnels in Wyoming.
Oh yeah. Got to get through some of those mountains.
They do. So yeah, you got the big mountains. It's been a while since I've been out to Wyoming and seen the mountains. Beautiful. You get out there every year. You see all that every year out there. Montana. That's a place you go to every year.
I think we might have lost Lee.
So, well, we may or may not get her back, but the mask mandates, the stuff, I'm tired of this stuff, Scott. Let's try to get on the other side of this whole pandemic thing.
I'm with you, bud. Nobody wants to see mask and lockdown situations. Nobody wants to see that.
They're having a big event here just not far from our studios tonight, Scott. Garth Brooks is going to be at Arrowhead. 74,000 people at Arrowhead tonight.
And they're all going to have to wear masks.
Yeah. They said you got to wear a mask if you go into the concourses or in the club level. You got to have a mask on.
And they would like you to wear it if you're out and about. They would like.
Well, let me just tell you. The Dingus is right across the street.
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't set foot in there.
Well, if you're
it's not because I don't want to.
We love Dingus too. By the way,
I love AJ and the
Absolutely.
Dingus a lot. I love going over there having a beer, but I'm going to be safe.
You and me, Scott, we got to pick our spots, don't we? We're just old men. We got to be careful.
Well, Kirk, you never even get out of the house, hardly.
I mean, I get out and about.
Not much. You're kind of Kirk, you're turning into a little bit of a
I thought about going to that Garth Brooks concert tonight, but I don't know if I should mix in with all that. I don't know.
Go get that. Go get the Rona.
I've got the vaccine, so I should be good to go, right?
You can still get it with the vaccine.
Hey, our good buddy that's worked with us, Michael Jackson, has COVID for the second time.
I know it.
Michael, one of the great guys, been working with us for years, works for racingdirt.com, shoots great video. And it's mild case this time. It hit him hard the first time last winter, but I've never met anybody who's gotten it twice.
I know.
Until Michael. So good, best wishes to you, Michael, and your family for get well soon.
Well, hold on.
Soon.
Not only did Michael get it, but his wife and his kids got it too.
And they had it the time before as well, so they got it a second time.
Yeah.
So. Just be careful.
Man, listen, nobody wants to see anything get locked down and all that. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody.
See that.
So we're just all going to have to do what we have to do to.
Well, just be careful out there. That's all I'm saying. So just.
Hey, listen, like I've said all along, it's your choice if you want to get a vaccine or not. It's up to you.
Yes, sir.
Free
country.
That's what America's all about, right? Land of choices.
They had Garth Brooks on a press conference yesterday, and they asked him and said, "Do you think this is a good idea doing that?" He says, "Hey, I don't know. We'll see." He said, "The music, I just want everybody to love each other, and the music is what it's all about for me."
74,000 people in one stadium. I don't know.
And they're supposed to be at Lincoln next week up at the University of Nebraska, so they still got that. He said they're going to run these 2 shows, and then they got a 3-week off before the next ones, and then they'll make a decision whether or not to have the other ones later on. So let's see how it goes.
Well, let's hope to hell that we don't get locked down.
Tonight is still on.
You could hear they were racing pretty good last night out there at Lakeside. You could hear them running. It was.
How late did they go?
I don't know.
Not that. I mean, they were. I don't know, 10:30, 11 o'clock.
I would have said.
Oh, that's
11.
perfect.
So it wasn't
Perfect.
too bad.
Yeah.
But you could hear them. They were running. I don't know whether the wind was down or something, but I was in the backyard and I could hear them. So I told Kirk I would have been out there. My wife had to have a procedure yesterday, and I wanted to have her home, make sure she was all right. I didn't want to get out there and have her have some back problems or anything. She had an epidural in her neck, so we're trying to.
Oh man, those are
not fun.
Not comfortable.
Getting some steroids in there, so I didn't go out there personally, but I saw a lot of posts, and Lisa Burlington's got a lot of the Victory Lane photos. So if you need to see any of those on there, and she said she'd send some our way too, Kirk. So
okay, yeah, it was a great night Tuesday night out at Lakeside Speedway for the road to Knoxville. We enjoyed that, and
that was fun out there. We
show.
had wasn't too many bugs, was it, Scott? Just there wasn't the eating kind of bugs. It was the flying around kind of bugs that were there.
You had a couple fly up your nose.
Right on my nose, and it just doesn't. Like I said, normally you get bit out there.
Todd shot some of them races out there.
I did all these sheep.
Todd and Scott were the videographers that night.
Me and Scott handled the duties, and like I said, I don't know. There wasn't mosquitoes. I was a little worried because I didn't prepare to out there for the mosquitoes, and so when I got up there, I was thinking, man, I'm going to get eaten alive up here, and didn't really happen. Didn't get bit. I didn't get bit once by anything, but had a lot of creepy crawlies in my hair, and actually came home, took my headband off, Scott, the head thing I was wearing, and something landed on my desk, and I thought, what is that crawling on my desk? And it turned out it was one of those things that was flying around, and something was flying in the air out there. So yeah, it was a lot of creepy crawlies flying.
Kirk, the other night when we had our race out there at Lakeside Speedway, I thought I'd made a mistake there when trying to put water on the track right before the A main, and
that was your call. You made that call.
Well, Terry and I talked to Terry and I said, Terry, I'm thinking about having put down some water right before the A main. He goes, okay. And long story short is I thought I made a huge mistake because, those guys had to roll that track in quite a bit. And they knew they were going to have to do that. So several of the drivers had told me that they put a couple extra gallons of fuel in just to roll the racetrack in. But I thought for sure every one of them was going to be mad at me about having to roll the racetrack in. But that racetrack ended up being really good.
It was racy.
The tire wear, I went down there and looked at the tire wear after the races. The tire wear was really good. So we got lucky, and I thought we had a pretty damn good race.
If you hadn't decided to put the water on the track, what would have been like?
It would have rubbered up, and it would have burned up a bunch of tires.
I was going to say, it might have started to rubber up on it. It looked like
it would have. It would have rubbered.
Yeah, especially on, was that 1 and 2 down there where you really was, it was, you could tell where you, but I was like you, we got out of there with a great time. So, I mean, when the
races were over at 10:30.
Yeah, when I saw you, when you guys were talking about with the water and they started tilling it up, with the fingerling thing and getting it all tore up on that, I thought, boy, this is going to be a little while. But then when I saw what time it was, like, well, heck, man, we're in good shape, man. We got plenty of concessions we can sell, so we'll be in good shape. But no, we were out of there good. Even with the late train that came by, we were still out of there at a good time. You notice we hit 2 trains.
Oh no, I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
I got out of there. I just drove right out. But
I did too.
We were about the last.
We were one of the last ones out, but there were 2 trains that night. There was one earlier in the night, and then the one normally on Fridays you just get the one out there at Lakeside. They kind of I don't know if they
Tuesday night we had 2 trains.
Yep. So
yeah, that's the way that
and
works.
concrete trucks too. If you notice too, there was a lot more concrete people moving in and out. Whereas on Friday they get them out of there, so they don't have to worry about messing with all those people in there. Friday they get those concrete guys out of there. But heck, me and Scott sat there and watched them make concrete for 20 minutes while we were unloading, didn't they? They were.
Oh yeah,
making concrete.
That guy's got a good gig.
Boy,
that guy
I
that
tell you
runs
what,
that,
sitting
that
on
loader.
that thing.
Just- he just sits there and waits for some trucks to show up, and then he throws some sand and
the
rock
guy
in there.
give him a little beep on his thing, and he picks up either
Yeah.
sand or rocks and dumps it in there. I said, "Boy, that's a fun gig right there." And he was
Yeah.
in the AC too. He was just sitting there chilling. So, but no,
Yep.
good seeing everybody out there. It was a really good race, man. I'm really impressed with the facilities. Really looking nice. The suites got a couple of them that are completely wrapped out there now. The pit work out there, the pits don't even look like the same pits out there now with all that concrete work. And it just, when they pitted out there, Scott, this year, it was different because you didn't have that big grass pad, in the middle where it was kind of like an empty, it's all open in there. It looks a lot different from the roof from up there, but just letting those guys out there know they did some really nice work, and it's starting to look really nice.
Yeah,
out
they've
there.
done wonders that parking lot out there,
Yeah.
no doubt about that.
I want to give a shout out to Bunny Whistler too. He really worked well with us out at Lakeside Speedway. When we wanted to add water to the racetrack, Bunny usually doesn't like to prep the track as the night goes, but Bunny searched me out. We went out on the golf cart. We talked about what we were looking for. We wanted a good top and a bottom and slick in the middle, and that's what we were hoping for. But it was a little slicker than we thought, so we put that moisture down a couple times. We opened up the track to one time, and put the moisture down right before the A main, and it all worked out well for us. So good car count too. I was happy with the car count on a midweek Tuesday night show before the 360 Nationals. It was great to see guys like John Carney, Jamie Ball, Sam Hafertepe show up to run that race. So it turned out to be a really good field of cars.
Yeah, fun night for sure. Hey, we haven't even talked about the biggest race of the week, I think the race of the week was Kyle Larson and the Dirt Late Model winning the Prairie Dirt Classic out at Fairbury, Illinois last Saturday night. What a show that was!
Didn't that pay $75,000?
Paid $50,000.
50.
Held off Bobby Pierce, and those two went at it for a while. Pierce knows that racetrack like the back of his hand. So does Shannon Babb, who made a late run up through the field. But Kyle Larson, who started sixth, I believe, made the charge to the front and really put on a show. What an impressive! I mean, we're still, Kyle Larson adds to his legend all the time now. We'll see what he does at Knoxville this week. He's going to run the Nationals at Knoxville, but yeah, that win at Fairbury last Saturday night, that was right up there.
Kirk, does that make him the most talented race car driver you've ever seen in your life? I mean, is he the most talented driver you've ever witnessed?
The most talented in the last in this millennium, I would say that, and since 2000, I would say that. I mean,
who would you put in front of him?
Well, I'm still looking back in the days of AJ and Mario and
Yep.
You had Michael Schumacher in the Formula One back then, and
No,
I mean, there's
I'm
a lot of great race car drivers that this world has seen, but Kyle Larson is certainly among the best I've seen.
Tony Stewart, he's got to be one of them, right?
But for a guy to race in so many different series, I don't think a lot of people around the NASCAR world really understand how hard this is for Kyle Larson to go and race with the very best dirt racers in the world. It's not like he's just going out and getting in a dirt car and playing around on a Saturday night and going out and winning races. No, he's winning these races against the very best that each of these series has to offer. I mean, you're just running against some of the best dirt late model racers in the country, and when he gets in a sprint car, he goes and wins the King's Royal against the very best in the country. That's what's impressive to me is how difficult that is and how very rare this is, what Kyle Larson's able to do. going out there dominating on the NASCAR circuit this year, and then go getting in 2-3 different kinds of dirt cars, whether it be midgets at the Chili Bowl earlier this year, dirt late models, sprint cars. He's running up front and everything. I don't think we've seen this versatility out of a race car driver, at least, most of my lifetime anyway.
Yeah, I'm kind of like you, Kirk. Growing up, I was a huge A.J. Foyt fan. I wasn't a big Mario fan because, I was a fan of A.J. But Mario Andretti has got to be looked at as one of the all-time greatest drivers to ever strap on a helmet.
Yeah, because Mario, if you look
at everything that he did,
right.
Formula One and Indy cars and Daytona 500. I mean, Mario Andretti really accomplished about as much as anybody behind the wheel.
Yeah, think what Mario did.
Multiple forms of race cars.
He won the Indy 500, he won the Daytona 500, and he won the Formula One championship.
Mm-hmm.
So, nobody's done that before.
I mean, because he won the Formula One championship, I think that's the reason I would probably put Mario Andretti at the top of the pile, maybe.
I think so.
Dave, is that a stretch?
But Kyle Larson's got a chance to do this. He's still young enough. Look at what he can still accomplish if he stays healthy, doesn't get hurt in the race car. He's got that kind of talent to be able to go accomplish these things like Mario did.
Dave Tyson just told me, he said you got to put Jeff Gordon in there.
But Jeff Gordon chose not to, once he went to NASCAR, he chose not to run any other stuff while he was running NASCAR.
I agree with that. But
he did win Belleville. Jeff Gordon did win Belleville.
He did win Belleville.
But guess what? So did Kyle Larson. He won Belleville too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a chance to really do something. If you ever put him in an Indy car, take him to Indianapolis at 500, he could win that too, I think.
I think we need to get not Jeff Gordon. We need to get, I don't know, who, me personally, I'm not sure if I had an IndyCar team, I think I would do whatever I could to get Kyle Larson in that car. I'd throw whatever money at him you have to and talk to Rick Hendrick. But I don't think Rick's going to let him drive on an oval. Kyle Larson on an oval.
Probably not.
I think Jimmy's going to try to make the 500 now, isn't he? Jimmy Johnson?
Yeah, he's going to try that next year.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. But originally his plans were to only run road courses. If there's a place to get hurt, it's
a lot
Indy.
of it was his wife
Holy
holding him
cow.
back, wasn't it? Hey, his wife didn't want him to do all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah. Well, folks, thanks for tuning into the show today. It's been a good one. We want to thank the drivers that took time to visit with us. I say us, Scotty and I, Gio Silsey, Sam Hafertepe, Blake Hahn, Brady Bacon. We also want to thank Bob Baker for being on the show with us here again and allowing us to do our show again at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum up here in Knoxville, Iowa. Folks, 12 different Knoxville winning cars down there in the museum right now. Get up here and check it out. Greg Hognett, he's got all of his stuff here as well. It's a must-see venue. When you talk about the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, there's nothing like it. If you are a motorsports fan of any type, come up here. The stuff that you'll see in this museum is second to none. There's nothing like it. The only thing that I can even think of that comes close to it is the Speedy Bill collection. And that's an amazing collection up in Lincoln, Nebraska as well. We had the great pleasure of going on a private tour with Speedy Bill. Kirk and I did one time.
That was an experience of a lifetime, no doubt about it.
It was one of the most out-of-body experiences ever.
Yeah.
We walked around for 4.5 hours with Speedy Bill as he explained every little thing in that building. It was one of the greatest times of my life of doing what I do, and we sure do miss Speedy Bill and Joyce.
So you're going to be out on the trailer, the Racing Boys trailer is out there. You're going to be doing some interviews. What, about 4:30 this afternoon or something like that? around that time?
Yeah, we're going to probably do our Facebook Live stuff around 2 or 3 o'clock this
Okay.
afternoon behind the main grandstand. So if you guys want to come down there, if you're up here at Knoxville, come by and say hi to us. Scotty and I will be interviewing several drivers today, sometime around 2 or 3 o'clock.
Okay, we'll be watching for that. And
on our Facebook page.
Yes.
Yes.
And we're also putting them up on our
We are.
at the OTT platform. We're streaming that on the OTT live racingboys.tv platform as well. And we're going to archive all those interviews, and they'll be up there for our subscribers as well.
That way they got something to
Yeah.
kill some time.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody, for
Thanks,
tuning in on the show. I want to thank my partner, Kirk Elliott, for doing such a good job back there at Racing Boys HQ, along with Adam Bartland and Todd Surprise.
So,
Also-
before we go, your prediction tonight, who's going to win at Knoxville?
Who's going to win tonight at Knoxville? You were going to ask me that. I
I'm
knew
picking,
that.
I'm picking Sam.
I was
I'm
gonna
picking
say,
Sam to win.
He's hard to pick against right now, right?
Well, Gio's
I mean, Gio
has something
won,
to say about that. And
but man, Sam looked pretty impressive out at Lakeside and rolling in out there and just
I'm kind of like you guys. It's hard for me. I always like to pick national tour guys.
Yeah.
And Sam Haferchief Jr. is one of those guys.
I like to see Blake win, but that'd be great to see Blake. He's had such a good year this year.
Yeah,
man.
but he's starting 14th. That's going to be
Yeah,
awful tough
that's
for him
tough.
to get up through the field. I think I'm going to go with Terry McCarl.
wow,
How about that?
he's already won this thing like 5 times already. hasn't
Right?
he?
How can you bet against him?
Well,
I'm serious.
yeah.
I mean, listen, Sam Haferchief is the obvious guy to win. I think if you guys hadn't picked him, maybe I'd look at him. But Terry McCarl, how many times has he won this, Dave? 5?
5 times. 5.
Yeah. So
Same number as Shane Stewart. Shane Stewart won it
Listen,
5 times too.
I think you're going to have to start in the first 3 rows because Dirty Air is a big play here at Knoxville Raceway. The speeds they carry through the corners and down the straightaways here, Dirty Air is a big problem. I don't think that you can win from starting further back than 6th on the 3rd row.
Be hard. Wouldn't
So
it?
it's going to be one of the first 6 guys, and I think you got to bet on Terry McCarl. He is the odds-on favorite, even though Sam looked like he might have the most speed with his car. I'm going to go with Terry McCarl, 5-time winner of the 360 Nationals.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it all works out. What's fun about it is we don't really know. I mean, it's wide open, so that's what's going to make it fun to watch.
Shane Golobic, though, keep an eye on that guy. I think he's got a chance to win as well.
Yeah, he's got a really good starting spot too.
And let me ask you this:
on
Sammy
the pole, he's
Swindell
on the pole.
Sammy Swindell starting second on the front row of the B main on the outside. Does he make it into the A main?
Yes, I'm going to say he does.
All right. Got some pretty tough people behind him.
Austin
So we'll have to
McCarl is right there. Ryan Giles, Dylan Westbrook, Jake
Mhm.
Buback, who normally we see at Belleville, but he's running.
Brian
360
Brown,
cars
Roger
this week.
Crockett, J.J. Hickle, Jack Dover, Derek Hagar, Matt Morrow, Jeff Swindell, John Carney II, Seth Bramer. There's a lot of good cars right there.
And of course, on the
But again,
outside,
those guys in the back of that B main
Right.
are not going to get up to the front because, again, it's going to be too challenging, I think.
and the outside of the front row that we haven't talked much about, a little bit about, Darren Pittman. Can't count him out either.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for tuning into the show again. Adam, Todd, thanks for everything you guys do. For Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. It's all been brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. We'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.